They ridiculed her weight, but when her billionaire husband stood up, it shocked everyone. In the heart of a glitzy Hollywood gala, something incredible was about to unfold. The elegant ballroom shimmered with opulence, draped in golden chandeliers and flowing silk. Guests sipped champagne and exchanged gossip, their laughter a mix of admiration and judgment, particularly directed at Sophia, the woman with curves that defied society's cruel standards. Ironically, the very body that sparked ridicule was now the center of a tempest brewing behind closed doors. Whispers twirled through the crowd like smoke. Did you see her? How could he love someone like that? The cruel words stung like icy daggers. Sophia stood tall, her heart racing, the weight of their scorn pressing down on her like an anchor. Yet, she had come this night for more than approval. She sought a fleeting moment to bask in the glow of true love, even if it felt slightly suffocating. But just as the ice in their glasses clinked and laughter peaked, the spotlight shifted. In walked Daniel, her billionaire husband, with an air of rugged confidence that turned heads faster than a camera flash. Clad in a tailored suit that accentuated his powerful frame, he moved through the throng, eyes narrowing as he sensed the judgment seeping like poison through the festivities. The moment his gaze landed on Sophia, the noise dimmed. It was as if time stopped. He crossed the room with determination, breaking apart the sea of judgment and silencing the whispers with every step. His expression was fierce, a mix of protectiveness and anger. The guests' laughter faded into an uneasy murmur, every eye glued to this shocking display of loyalty, yet they could hardly believe their eyes. Rumors and shock rippled through the room, tightening like a noose around every throat. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. And just like that, the room held its breath as Daniel reached out, grabbing Sophia's hand gently but firmly. You're beautiful just the way you are, he declared, every word pouring out with an intensity that shook the very foundations of the crowd's perception. Gasps echoed, and eyes widened. This was unexpected, like a bolt of lightning illuminating a dark sky. What would happen next? Would they fight against the world together, or would the judgment pull them apart? What secrets lay hidden in the shadows of their life? The air thrummed with tension, and every heart quickened as the stage was set for something that would change everything. The silence of the ballroom lay heavy, thick enough to cut through. Guests exchanged bewildered glances, surprise replacing the smug expressions that had drawn tight moments ago. Sophia's heart thundered, a mix of disbelief and fierce pride rushing through her veins. Daniel had publicly claimed her, and it felt exhilarating yet terrifying. As he held her hand firmly in his, she could see his determination. The crowd, once an audience of critics, shifted into mere spectators, the power of his love momentarily silencing the venomous whispers. Sophia caught a hint of a smirk on a woman across the room, her face painted with disbelief. It was clear the evening was unraveling. How dare he break the unspoken code of their elite circle? Then, from the back of the ballroom, a voice rang out, sharp enough to fracture the nervous atmosphere. Well, that's bold. But can love really fix what's so obvious? Laughter erupted, this time directed at Daniel. A man in a crisp tuxedo, tall and imposing, leaned against a pillar, his posture casual yet contemptuous. Daniel's jaw clenched, but he didn't back down. "Want to see what's obvious?" His voice was steely, and it rippled through the crowd, silencing laughter. "What's obvious is how scared you all are of authenticity. It's easy to tear someone down when you're hiding behind your insecurities." Sophia felt a swell of warmth burst within her. He was fighting not just for her but to unmask the pretentiousness that silenced voices like hers for so long. But doubt crept in. Would they really stand a chance against this world of judgment? The crowd began to murmur again, a flurry of reactions igniting. Some whispered admiration, while others exchanged disapproving glances, desperate to bring Daniel down. "Have you lost your mind?" That same voice taunted again, somehow louder now, as if challenging Daniel's very core. "You're a billionaire." Well, look at her. How can you risk everything for a woman who can't even fit the mold? The laughter that ensued crackled like static, creating an electric tension in the room. Sophia's heart sank, the weight of those words so heavy she could barely breathe. She had always been aware of her size, of how her curves contrasted with the ideals draped across glossy magazines and red carpets. But now, stripped of confidence, her smile faltered. Watching her retreat within herself, Daniel turned toward her, his eyes fierce, filled with a protective rage. "It's not her body that defines her," he countered, voice resonating through the crowd. "It's her spirit. You people hide behind your empty standards." With that declaration, he shifted, facing the audience head-on. "If you're shocked by my love for her, you should look at yourselves. You judge while hiding your own flaws. Be better." His words ripped through the disdain like a beacon of light focusing on Sophia, but as the applause began to swell, a sense of unease mingled with victory. There were forces at play here that neither of them fully understood. This act of defiance might ignite retaliation from someone bent on destroying them, or worse, turning their love into a spectacle. "What happens now?" Sophia whispered, her voice tinged with fear, as the first hints of thunderclouds gathered overhead, ready to darken their moment of triumph. The air crackled, anticipation mounting. If they were to find a way through this storm, they had to navigate a treacherous path filled with betrayal, envy, and secrets waiting to be unveiled, and just then, a shadow shifted in the corner of the room, a figure cloaked in mystery, watching them with an unmistakable glint of malice. As the crowd pulsed with rising energy, a new turmoil brewed, darker than the last. Would they be prepared for what was coming their way? The applause faded, a creeping fog of tension swallowing the moment whole. Sophia cast a wary glance around the crowded ballroom, searching for the figure lurking in the shadows. The flickering chandeliers buzzed above, casting fractured light patterns over the onlookers, amplifying their disbelief, suspicion, and suddenly, something darker. "Who is that?" she murmured, nudging Daniel, her voice barely above a whisper. His grip tightened around her hand, anchoring her to the reality she was facing. "I don't know, but we need to keep our eyes open," he replied, his gaze shifting towards where she pointed. The figure remained obscured, but even from this distance, she felt the weight of their stare, a predator sizing up its prey. Just as the atmosphere thickened, an unexpected crackling noise burst through the room like gunfire. Glass shattered somewhere in the back, and gasps rippled through the audience. The crowd shifted, confused reactions painted across their faces as all eyes darted around like startled deer. Sophia felt her heart racing, thumping hard against her ribcage. Her mind raced with possibilities. Was someone trying to intimidate them? Then, without warning, the mysterious figure stepped forward, revealing a woman in a shimmer of deep red that clung to her like a second skin. Her blonde hair cascaded down her back in perfect waves, an image of effortless glamour, yet, there was something unsettling about her confident stride. She approached Daniel and Sophia with the kind of poise that screamed entitlement. "You must be the brave little lady," she sneered, a veneer of sweetness dripping from her words. "And the brave man who decided to fall in love with you, challenging the status quo, I see. How charming." Daniel stiffened, readying himself to respond, but Sophia felt an unease that bubbled just beneath the surface. She inhaled sharply, forcing herself to stand tall, despite the words stinging like venom. "What do you want?" Sophia managed, her voice steadier than she felt. "Oh, darling," the woman laughed coldly, a sound that sent shivers up Sophia's spine. "I'm just here to remind you that tales of star-crossed lovers don't end well for the ones who don't fit the mold." By now, whispers throughout the crowd began to swell again, a drumbeat of judgment echoing against the ornate walls of the ballroom. Sophia's stomach churned, thoughts racing. Was this woman a past rival, a bitter acquaintance, or something more chilling? "They'll never accept you like this," the red-clad woman continued, tilting her head as if studying a specimen under a microscope. "Your love won't survive their scrutiny, and you'll be a laughingstock, just like the rest." Daniel stepped forward, his voice like steel. "You think you can intimidate her?" He gestured to Sophia, fire igniting in his eyes. "She's stronger than you realize. We won't be your entertainment." The tension had escalated to a breaking point. Sophia felt every eye in the room pivot between them and the woman, who had now become the epicenter of a brewing storm. "Entertainment?" The woman threw her head back, laughing. "You'll regret this. Just remember, secrets always have a way of bubbling to the surface." As her words sailed through the air, the lights dimmed momentarily, and a thick chill enveloped the ballroom. Just like that, she turned and vanished into the crowd, leaving a trail of whispers in her wake. Sophia's heart pounded, dread creeping in. What did she mean by secrets? Daniel noticed the concern etched on her face and placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. "We'll figure it out together. No one can break us if we stand strong." But as the crowd resumed their chatter, a lingering feeling pulsed in the air, pregnant with uncertainty. They had displayed their love so boldly, but the truth of the woman's words gnawed at Sophia. What secrets were lurking just beneath the glossy veneer of their perfect lives? And more importantly, were they strong enough to face whatever darkness was about to unfold? A tremor of fear twisted in Sophia's gut. She scanned the ballroom, the guests now vibrating with murmurs of curiosity and disbelief. The familiar elegance of the room felt sinister, the walls closing in on her. "What do you want to do?" Daniel whispered, the softness of his voice contrasting sharply with the chaos around them. Sophia could see the determination etched in his features, but doubts crept in, gnawing at the edges of her resolve. "We can't let her ruin this night." "Not now," she replied, though her voice trembled. It felt trivial, almost weak, considering the weight of the words flung her way just moments ago. Daniel nodded, his jaw set. "Let's get a drink and take a breath. Clear our heads." With him guiding her, they weaved through the throngs of guests. Sophia felt the weight of their eyes, judging and dissecting every step they took. Did they see her fear? Did they feel the vulnerability that clung to her like a shadow? At the bar, she ordered a drink, a strong one. As Daniel chatted with the bartender, she leaned against the counter, trying to ground herself. She caught glimpses of the woman in red, mingling seamlessly with the crowd. An ice-cold dread pooled in her stomach. "Here," Daniel said, sliding a glass of whiskey toward her. The heat from the liquor seeped into her hands, a small comfort amidst the brewing storm. "You're okay. We're okay." But the knot in her stomach tightened. What if she's right? The question collided against her, drawing a lump in her throat. What if he placed a finger over her lips, silencing her worry? "We're bigger than her games. Look around, they want to see us happy, not broken." Sophia took a deep breath and pushed the doubt aside. She needed to be brave. Just as she steadied herself, a sharp scream cut through the chatter, slicing the air with a keen edge. It came from the direction of the stage. Heads turned, and the music halted. In the heartbeat of that silence, the music returned, but it was different, distorted. Confused, she watched as the crowd dispersed towards the stage, clumps of guests gathered in a frenzied huddle. Instinct kicked in, propelled by a sudden surge of adrenaline. "Let's check it out," Daniel urged, taking her hand. They moved against the tide of worried whispers, anxiety steadily mounting within her. As they approached, the scene sharpened into focus. Someone lay sprawled on the polished floor, a man in a sharply tailored suit, face twisted in pain. But it wasn't just medical concern that rippled through the crowd. The woman in red stood at the back, her face twisted in a smirk, eyes glinting with satisfaction. "What happened?" Sophia whispered, dread clawing at her throat. "Not sure. But that's Nathan," Daniel said, his expression darkening. He's tangled up in some recent fights over the family fortune. "It probably has to do with something more," she breathed, understanding dawning. The whispers intensified, inching closer to panic. The ballroom suddenly felt like a stage set for calamity. The earlier glamour had morphed into something grotesque, a macabre twist dancing beneath the finery. "Get back!" A voice rose above the chaos. A doctor had unceremoniously pushed his way through the crowd. He knelt by Nathan's side, beginning to assess him while chaos unfurled around him. Sophia's heart raced. Amongst the panic, she caught Daniel's eye. This could be connected to what? The woman, Daniel. The secrets she mentioned. What if she was here to instigate this? But the crowd drew nearer, snapping photos and fueling the frenzy. Sophia's breath quickened, eyes darting around for the woman in red. "Daniel! We have to leave. We can't be a part of this." He hesitated for a beat, glancing back at Nathan beneath the moving crowd. The chaos swirled around them like a tempest. "No. We need to find the truth. This doesn't just involve Nathan, it connects us all." He gripped her hand, the urgency in his tone unfurling into conviction. "You don't get it," she cried, panic pouring from her lips. "We don't know what we're walking into." But just as they turned to move away, a shadow swept behind them. The woman in red re-emerged through the throng, a predatory glint in her eye. "Going somewhere?" Sophia's heart dropped. Whatever secrets were lurking, they were about to become front-page news. Suddenly, the lights flickered again, plunging them into darkness for a split second. When illumination returned, Sophia froze. The woman had vanished, and Nathan's condition seemed to have worsened. "Daniel, we need to." The shrill sirens of ambulances sliced through the air as dread loomed over them. What was she hiding? With each second, the weight of their terrible unknown grew heavier. Coming to terms with hidden truths was their only option now, but could they unravel the mystery before the clock struck out? Sophia could barely breathe. The darkness seemed to swell around them, choking all remaining sense of calm. Daniel's grip tightened on her hand, as he searched the crowd frantically for the woman in red. Where did she go? He muttered, brows knotted in worry. Just then, the paramedics burst onto the scene, bright uniforms contrasting sharply against the elegant backdrop of the ballroom. The crowd parted, still buzzing with shock. Everyone was glued to Nathan, but the undercurrent of fear and suspicion didn't die down. Had the woman in red simply vanished, or did she manipulate this chaos to her advantage? Stay close, Daniel urged, nudging Sophia deeper into the gathering. The urgency in his voice grounded her momentarily, pushing away the swirling anxiety. She focused on Nathan, who lay being attended to, his face pallid, eyes fluttering. What's happening? Is he? Sophia's voice wavered. Is he going to be okay? He needs help, Daniel replied, watching the paramedics work, tension coiling in his shoulders. But we need to figure out what's really going on. This was no accident. An uncomfortable feeling settled in her chest. But what if we're wrong? What if we judge too quickly? No, he said firmly, looking deep into her eyes. This is about protecting ourselves now. We can't let this go. Desperation gripped her heart as she spotted movement at the edges of the crowd. The woman in red was re-emerging, sidling through the guests with a confidence that felt ominous. Her smile didn't match the tension radiating from the room. It was as though she thrived on the chaos. Look! There! Sophia pointed, unable to contain the urgency in her voice. She's back. Daniel stepped forward, a mixture of anger and fear surging through him. What do you want? He called out, his voice echoing across the ballroom, catching the attention of more guests. With an unfazed expression, the woman in red tilted her head slightly, as if assessing the situation. Oh darling, this is just the beginning. You've made quite the scene, haven't you? She taunted, her voice dripping with mockery. Why? He spat the question. What are you hoping to gain from this? Control is the name of the game, love. And you're all playing right into my hands. She waved her fingers in an airy gesture, then glanced back at Nathan. But don't worry, he's just playing his part in the show. Sophia's heart raced, adrenaline pumping through her veins. You're sick, she screamed, disgust bubbling up. This is a real person's life. But the woman merely shrugged, a satisfied smirk plastered on her face. Real lives are so boring without a little twist, don't you think? Just watch and learn. Daniel stepped in front of Sophia protectively. Whatever you're planning, it ends now. Does it? The woman responded, dimming the energy in the room with a chilling laugh. You have no idea what you're up against. With that, she turned on her heel and began weaving through the crowd, her red dress trailing behind her like spilled blood. A wave of whispers followed in her wake, confusion and disbelief rife as she made her escape. Should we follow her? Sophia asked, urgency rocking her. Daniel's eyes narrowed. No, we're not separating. He took a deep breath, scanning the remaining crowd, which was still wrapped in chaos and dark anticipation. But we need a plan. She's dangerous, and we need to figure out who she really is. Sophia felt a chill skitter down her spine. Her instincts screamed at her, warning her of the shadows that lurked beneath the polished surface of the night. Let us find somewhere we can talk without being seen, he suggested, pulling her yet again away from the spotlight they hadn't wanted to stand under in the first place. But just as they turned, a blast of laughter rang out. Startled, they both turned back to find a large group of guests transitioning into jest, spurred on by facades of bravado in disbelief. Nathan seemed to be stirring, his groans now audible, racking her with fresh fears. "What if it's too late?" she whispered, her apprehension clawing up. "We have to trust our instincts," Daniel said firmly. "If we don't confront this tonight, we may lose everything." As they slipped through the crowd, seeking refuge in the back of the ballroom, Sophia couldn't shake the feeling that they were mere pawns in a game much bigger than either of them. And there, amidst the chaos, a flicker of motion caught her eye. The woman in red reappeared at the edge of the hall, watching their every move, a satisfied smile creeping across her lips. What is she planning? Their journey into the depths of this twisted intrigue was only beginning, and Sophia could already hear the ticking clock in her mind. Daniel and Sophia ducked into a dimly lit corridor at the back of the ballroom, the roar of laughter and voices fading behind them. Sophia leaned against the wall, her heart still racing, the echo of their confrontation with the woman in red replaying in her mind. What just happened? Her voice was barely more than a whisper, laced with dread. Daniel ran a hand through his hair, visibly shaken but determined. "That woman, she's not just playing games. She wants something. It's not just about Nathan." She nodded, her gut twisting with a potent mix of fear and confusion. "But how does she even know us? What does she mean by you're all playing into my hands?" Daniel stepped closer, intensity in his gaze. "What matters is we need answers. She may have left, but this isn't over. We need to figure out her next move." Suddenly, the hallway felt suffocating. Shadows danced around them, as if the walls themselves were eavesdropping. They needed a plan, but fear gnawed at Sophia's mind, a relentless worry about Nathan. What if he doesn't make it? Her voice trembled, and she pressed the palm of her hand against her chest, trying to calm the pounding of her heart. What if we're too late? Daniel's expression softened momentarily, but he steeled himself quickly. We won't be. We have to focus. Let us think there has to be someone who can help us understand what's really happening. Someone who knows that woman. Just as he spoke, a distant scream pierced the air, echoing down the corridor. They froze, the blood draining from their faces. A quick nod from Daniel, and they bolted toward the sound, their hearts racing with each step. They spilled back into the ballroom, the scene transformed from chaos to a precarious stillness. Guests were searching the room, whispers of confusion filling the air. What is going on? Sophia's voice cracked, anxiety coursing through her. A man nearby caught their eye, his face pale, his hands shaking as he pointed towards a corner of the room. The woman in red, she's gone. Continuing to scan the room, Sophia's gaze locked onto Nathan, still lying on the ground. Panic flooded her. He was surrounded now by a small crowd of guests, their faces twisted in shock. "Nathan!" she cried, rushing forward. "Nathan, can you hear me?" He stirred, groaning as he tried to sit up. His eyes fluttered open, confusion plastered across his face. "Sophia?" he croaked, recognition dawning. "What happened?" "Just stay still. We're calling for help," she urged, her voice breaking. In that moment, the crowd parted, their curiosity shifting from Nathan to something else brewing at the edge of the ballroom. Sophia followed their gazes, and her stomach dropped. The woman in red stood at the entrance, triumphant and untouched, her presence commanding the room as if she were the queen of this dark spectacle. "I told you all, this is just the beginning." Her voice rang out, smooth and chilling, sending shivers down Sophia's spine. For a moment, Daniel was frozen in disbelief. What does she want now? Sophia clenched her fists, ready to fight, but Daniel's hand on her shoulder brought her back to the present. "We need to think," he whispered. "She won't stop until she gets what she wants. Then we'll make sure she doesn't get away with it." Sophia's determination flickered back to life, reigniting her resolve. As they watched, the woman in red raised a glass, sparkling under the chandelier light, her lips curling into that unsettling smirk. "Ladies and gentlemen," she proclaimed, "if you wish to unveil the real mystery of this night, join me in the garden." Sophia's heart raced. An invitation wrapped in intrigue, but what awaited them outside? With a final glance at Nathan, still groggy and confused, Sophia felt a storm of conflicting emotions. They couldn't let this woman continue her game. But what if she's luring us into a trap? Daniel murmured, voice low but urgent. "Maybe, but we can't let fear dictate our actions." Sophia took a deep breath, adrenaline surging. "Let us follow her. We can't let her take control." As they moved toward the exit, Sophia caught a glimpse of Nathan's worried eyes, and for a fleeting moment, she hesitated. What if they walked into the very danger they were trying to escape? She steeled her resolve, walking into the unknown alongside Daniel. The garden awaited them, cloaked in shadows and secrets, and a deeper plot that promised to unravel. Would they emerge victorious, or would they fall prey to the whims of the woman in red? Unknown threats loomed ahead, and with each step, the ticking clock continued its ominous countdown. The garden seemed to breathe around them, dense vines twisting into a maze that obscured the bright moonlight above. Sophia and Daniel stepped cautiously onto the brick path, the air thick with tension. Shadows loomed, elongated figures creeping along their periphery. "What kind of party is this?" Daniel muttered, scanning the area for signs of life or danger. "It feels like a scene from a nightmare." "More like the part where you can't wake up," Sophia responded, her voice shaking as they walked deeper into the foliage. Suddenly, the soft rustle of leaves drew their attention. Sophia's heart danced in her chest, but she pressed on, fueled by determination. Here was a place where secrets could hide, where even the faintest whispers could turn deadly, and then she spotted her. The woman in red stood among the roses, her gown a scarlet flame against the midnight backdrop. She was toying with a blood-red rose, the petals glistening dewy, almost like a teasing invitation. "Ah, brave souls!" she called out, her tone light but laced with malice. "You decided to join me. I was beginning to think you might not be up for a little game. What do you want?" Daniel's voice was steady, though betrayal and fear slipped through the cracks. "What are you planning?" "Planning?" She laughed, a soft, eerie melody that echoed through the garden. "Oh, dear boy, this is not about planning. This is about fate. Each of you has your role to play." Her eyes flickered between them, a predator sizing up her prey. Sophia felt a chill race down her spine. "Nathan, what did you do to him?" "Ah yes, your hero," she said, twirling the rose. "How delightful it will be to watch you choose between him and your own lives. A sacrifice, if you will. What kind of twisted game is this?" Daniel barked, stepping closer, shielding Sophia without even thinking. The woman smiled, revealing a set of sharp teeth that hinted at her true nature. A game of choice. I thrive on desperation, and I know it all too well. The lure of control. What will you do, my dear Sophia? Will you save Nathan and condemn yourselves, or will you forsake him for your own sake? Sophia felt her breath hitch. You're sick. Perhaps, she replied, her voice dripping with amusement. But it is a game you all are part of, whether you realize it or not. You already stand on the edge. The question is, which way will you jump? The world around them seemed to constrict. Each rose, each shadow, held secrets and dangers. Sophia felt the weight of decisions crashing down on her. She couldn't think about Nathan, helpless and fragile. Fear clawed at her throat. Daniel clenched his fists. You think we'll play by your rules? I think you are already playing, the woman shot back, eyes gleaming with malice. Follow the signs. They will lead you where you need to be. But remember, each step comes with a price. Sophia glanced at Daniel, panic flickering between them. This was not a game, it was a twisted plot far beyond their understanding. Nathan's fate hung in the balance, and the stakes were rising. Taking a step back, Daniel turned his gaze to the labyrinthine paths. We won't let you control us. Then how thrilling this will be! The woman laughed, a sound of triumphant victory that echoed ominously through the garden. The game is set and the first move is yours. Will you save him? With that, she dissolved into the shadows, leaving behind a chilling silence. What do we do now? Sophia's voice trembled as she caught Daniel's worried expression. We figure out what she meant by signs, he replied, determination hardening his features. But first, we need to find Nathan. But as they turned to retrace their steps, something glinted beneath the moonlight at their feet, a small, ornate key, its surface slick with uncertainty. What could this be for? Sophia wondered aloud, holding it against the light. Only one way to find out, Daniel said, urgency creeping into his voice. And with that, they plunged forward into the unknown, the ticking clock growing louder in their ears. What awaited them deeper in the garden? Danger, revelation, salvation. Time was running out, and the woman in red wasn't done with them yet. The key felt cool against Sophia's palm as she traced the intricate designs etched into its surface. She could barely think over the thudding of her heart, but she couldn't ignore the eerie feeling creeping in from the dark corners of the garden. Where do we start? Daniel asked, scanning the twisted pathways. They were all but swallowed in foliage, the moonlight flickering like an unreliable guide. Sophia bit her lip, the pressure building in her chest. Somehow, I feel like it must lead us to her game, or to Nathan. Then we follow the path, Daniel replied, determination sharpening his voice. He nodded towards an overgrown archway, almost hidden beneath tangled vines. That seems as good a place as any. They stepped forward, the key pressing uncomfortably against Sophia's skin. Each step felt heavier, her mind racing with unanswered questions. Were they really going to unlock something? The possibility terrified her. As they navigated the narrow path, the air shifted. It felt thick, and a whisper of wind curled around them, carrying faint laughter, echoing between the trees. Daniel paused, looking back at Sophia. Did you hear that? She nodded, feeling the hairs on the back of her neck stand up. It's coming from over there. She pointed toward a clearing where the laughter grew louder, seductive yet haunting. They approached cautiously, the darkness wrapping around them like a shroud. When they finally entered the clearing, a vision struck them. A grand table was set, despite the desolation of the surroundings. Candlelight flickered, casting silhouettes of grotesque figures around them, their faces a blend of rapture and horror. "What is this?" Daniel whispered, stepping nearer. The entire scene felt unnatural, surreal. Sitting at the head of the table was the woman in red, her laughter now turning into a melody that prickled at their skin. "Welcome, welcome. I thought you'd never come," she purred, her eyes sparkling with malice. Sophia's stomach dropped. "What is this? A feast?" "It's a feast of choices," she announced, her crimson lips widening in a smile that sent chills down Sophia's spine. "Every dish represents a choice before you, each one tied to someone's fate, including Nathan's." That suffocating panic clawed at Sophia again. Each dish glistened alarmingly under the candlelight, the aroma wafting toward her, tantalizing yet terrifying. "Choose wisely," the woman said, the shadows deepening around her. "Your decisions here will echo into reality. Will you sacrifice for your friend? Study the temptations? Embrace desperation? Every bite has a consequence. What's your game?" Daniel demanded, fists clenched, fear igniting in his hazel eyes. "You plan to toy with us?" The woman rested her chin on her hand, the delight dancing in her features. "Oh, you misunderstand. I don't toy with lives. I reveal them. What lies inside each heart, their true desires. Serve me your intentions, and I may just be inclined to let Nathan go." Her words were clearly laced with a sinister promise. Sophia felt her hands tremble, knuckles widening as she clutched the key. This wasn't just a labyrinth of vines, they were buried deeper in a trap of morals and decisions. "Wait," she said, finding her voice amidst the chaos. "What if we refuse to play?" The woman in red tilted her head, her smile broadening dangerously. "Refusal? Ah, the sweetest option of denial. But remember, inaction also incurs the deepest penalty." Daniel grabbed Sophia's arm, the urgency in his gaze screaming for action. "We can't stay here. We have to find Nathan." "But what if choosing is the only way out?" Sophia asked, fear constricting her throat. In that moment, the ground trembled beneath them. From somewhere unseen, a rumble echoed, and shadows crept closer, creeping with the intent to consume. "Time is a fleeting gift," the woman said, her tone eerily calm. "What will you choose?" As the shadows advanced, the key slipped from Sophia's grip, falling into the wild grass. It seemed awfully quiet now, and the laughter had turned into a whisper that twisted like a knife through the air. "Daniel, we need to decide," she shouted, voice trembling. Everything spiraled around them. Would they end this madness or let the darkness claim them? And just as doubt began to choke her thoughts, they heard something from the depths of the garden, a desperate cry echoing against the night. Nathan! What had they stepped into? And what other secrets lay beyond the shadows that loomed nearer? The echoes of Nathan's name twisted through the darkness, a haunting reminder of what was at stake. Sophia's heart raced, a drumbeat fueled by fear and urgency. She locked eyes with Daniel, his brow furrowed, determination flickering in the light of the candles. What choice did they have? The dinner table, with its sinister spread, felt like a twisted lie cloaked in temptation. Shadows danced closer, slithering over the grass, eager to merge with the darkness that engulfed them. "Choose now." The woman in red's voice rose like a crescendo, sharp and demanding. It sliced through the chaos, forcing Sophia to take a breath. Her mind screamed with the weight of choice pressed upon her like a vice. We can't just stand here, she breathed, scanning the grotesque dishes. We need to do something. The first dish caught her eye, a glistening centerpiece, pulsing, almost alive. Its surface shimmered like disturbed water, as if holding secrets beneath. What is that? The woman chuckled, a sound rich in mockery. A taste of vengeance, she said, gesturing with a flourish. A choice for those who crave power. But beware, revenge always leaves a cost. Daniel grimaced. That's not what we need. Sophia's mind raced. What if they didn't choose the right path? The consequences could be dire, not just for them, but for Nathan. She glanced at Daniel, his anxiety matching hers. What could this one mean for him? Before either could respond, a new voice broke through the laughter, emerging from the shadows. Sophia! Daniel! Help! It was Nathan, his voice strained, filled with fear. The couple turned, their breaths hitching. The cry reached into the depths of their hearts, a gut-wrenching pull that anchored them to reality. Where are you? Daniel shouted into the murky abyss, desperation tinting each word. What have they done to you? Don't answer. The woman laughed, her smirk widening. You must choose, dear ones. Will your love lead you to sacrifice, or will you cling to your precious desires? Sophia felt her stomach twist. What do we do? Maybe we need to turn the tables, Daniel whispered, glancing at the remaining dishes. Each one seemed to mock their desperation, taunting them with glimmers of possibility shaded with dread. What if we choose not to play her game? No. The woman recoiled, and in that moment, shadows recoiled as well. You must partake to see if your desperate hearts can unravel the truth. If you refuse, Nathan's fate alone will be sealed. No! Sophia yelled, shaking with rage. We will not let you control us. We refuse to choose. The silence that followed was deafening. The candle flames flickered wildly, and an oppressive darkness swelled around them, suffocating any remaining hope. A sudden, piercing wail erupted from the shadows. Nathan's voice rang out again, more urgent this time, followed by the unmistakable sound of something breaking, splintering, scattering. Sophia recoiled. We need to move. With a surge of adrenaline, she plunged toward the table, her choices initially forgotten. The key lay a few feet away, glinting in between the roots of an old oak. That was their chance, wasn't it? Before she could reach it, Daniel positioned himself in front of her, eyes locked on the woman. What if the key unlocks more than just our passage? What if it stops this game altogether? Sophia hesitated. Could it be that simple? Or were the shadows merely toying with their hope again? Suddenly, the atmosphere shifted. The laughter turned into anguished cries, and the shadows beyond the clearing twisted against their will, writhing with a life of their own. Your time is fleeting. The woman screeched, her voice cracking. Choose or lose. Fighting the urge to clutch the key, Sophia caught Daniel's gaze. He was resolute, ready to face the darkness together. They had to risk everything to save Nathan. With the snap of her resolve, she lunged for the key. Would this unlock their salvation or doom them further? Shadows pressed in, ready to claim their fate, but just as her fingers grazed the cool metal, the earth trembled violently beneath them, and a blinding light erupted from the key, illuminating the shadows that coiled around them. Your choice is made. The woman cried, rage sparking in her eyes. As they braced for the unknown, Nathan's voice grew louder, almost breaking through the chaos. Help me! Would they save him or become part of this twisted game? The light grew brighter, a beacon in the consuming darkness, but what lay beyond it remained a chilling mystery. The brilliant flash engulfed Sophia and Daniel, emanating from the key that now blazed like a star in their hands. Time seemed suspended, every heartbeat echoing loudly in the silence, drawing them closer to the unknown. The shadows curled back, revealing a tapestry of choices woven into the very fabric of the air around them. Each choice shimmered, vibrant yet taunting, begging for their attention. "Take it!" Daniel shouted, his voice cutting through the chaos. "It's our chance!" With their hearts pounding in synchrony, Sophia clutched the key tightly and swung it toward the darkness. The moment it touched the shadows, they recoiled, rippling outward like waves on a still pond. A surge of warmth enveloped them, wrapping them in a cocoon of light. The woman in red shrieked, her face contorting with rage, but the brightness only intensified, drowning out her figure completely. Then, all at once, the world around them shifted. They found themselves in a vibrant, otherworldly garden bathed in sunlight, a stark contrast to the dim horrors they just escaped. Colorful flowers bloomed around them, birds sang sweet melodies overhead, and there, in the center, was Nathan, lying on a bed of wildflowers, as if he had become part of the paradise itself. "Nathan!" Sophia raced to his side, kneeling in the soft petals. She could see him stirring, confusion slowly giving way to recognition. "You're okay. We're here. What happened?" he murmured, blinking against the brightness. Where is she?" His eyes darted around frantically. "The woman in red? We don't know, but we didn't let her win." Daniel breathed, relief flooding through him as he joined them. "We used the key." "The key?" Nathan strained to sit up, his face paling. "It's true then, she really had a plan, a dangerous one." Sophia shook her head, gripping Nathan's arm. "It doesn't matter now. We're together and safe." She held on to that hope fiercely, squeezing her eyes shut for a brief moment. The weight of tension they had felt started to lift, releasing some of the fear that had held them hostage. "But it won't end like this," Nathan warned softly. "She'll come back. She thrives on chaos. We need to prepare." Daniel nodded, stepping closer, his expression steely. "Then let us find a way to outsmart her. If we were pawns before, we control the game now." As they gathered their strength, a rustling sound disturbed the stillness. The sky darkened momentarily, casting ominous shadows across the garden. The woman in red appeared at the edge of their vision, her laughter ringing out like sinister chimes. "Did you truly think you could escape my grasp?" she taunted, her figure growing sharp against the backdrop. "You've merely stumbled into a new puzzle. The stakes only increase from here." Sophia felt a chill run down her spine, a haunting echo of her previous fears. "What do you want from us?" she called out defiantly, the roar of her love for Nathan and Daniel propelling her voice. "I want nothing less than your deepest truths," the woman replied, her eyes glinting like shards of glass. "Your crossroads will define you, shaping your destinies." With a flick of her wrist, the landscape shimmered, shifting, revealing paths diverging before them, their choices laid bare, as pathways tangled under the weight of unseen consequences. "If we're going to face you, we need to do it on our own terms," Daniel said firmly, stepping forward as the shadows swirled around them. "We're not afraid of what lies ahead because together we are stronger than fear." The woman paused, intrigued, then allowed a twisted smile to play across her lips. "So be it. The next move is yours." Then with a flick of her fingers, she was enveloped by shadows, those serpentine tendrils pulling her back, her laugh ringing faintly, lingering in the air like smoke. "Now is our chance," Nathan said, pulling himself up straighter against the flowering ground. "We must choose wisely, navigate our way past temptation and fear. We can transform this game into something powerful. You both gave me strength, let's turn that against her." A surge of determination leapt among the three of them. Together they ventured toward the beckoning paths, hand in hand, knowing they stood as one. Each step forward was met with echoes of laughter, but it was laced with warmth now instead of panic. Every decision led them deeper, and as their combined strengths illuminated the path, they knew they would unveil the truths that could shatter the woman in red's grasp. They would barge through the secrets of their lives, brought forth by the battles they had fought, while forging new alliances in the face of adversity. With hearts swollen with love and resolve, they pushed forward into the unknown, ready to face whatever came next. There would be no more running. Sophia's mind swirled with a powerful clarity. They were determined to rewrite their destiny, to seize control of a reality that was rightfully theirs. In the distance, the laughter faded, the sunlight warmed their backs, and with each pace, they combined their courage, facing the next mystery together, the power of connection igniting brilliance in the dark. The world before them shimmered with possibility, and they finally understood, true love isn't just a shield, but a weapon against the darkness. Sophia dared to smile as they dove deeper into the twisting paths, ready for whatever future awaited them. Together, they would emerge victorious. And this time, nothing, not even secrets long buried, could tear them apart. Now, it's your turn. Don't forget to subscribe immediately to stay in the loop for all our next exclusive stories. You need to hit that like button now to help us conquer the algorithm. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this ending. And share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see how true love can defeat the shadows. Don't wait even one more second to show your support.